It's now time to clean the HP B Plus. As you can see, I've been using a fair amount of red on there, but it's time to give this a bit of a clean. So first things first, what we want to do is chuck a little bit of the cleaner into the cup and give it a bubble like we did with the other one, just a little gentle bubble, and then dump that out. Pop a little bit more of the cleaner in, and again gentle bubble. And put a small amount of cleaner in again, and this time with our cleaning brush from our Iwata cleaning kit. Get in there and really give it a good old mix around. And then rinse it through one more time. Honestly, you can do that as many times as you feel are necessary, but once you've done a couple of rinse throughs, what we want to do is put a little bit more of the cleaning solution in there, and then with a spray out pot or with a cup with some wadded tissue in, pop this in and spray it through, or you can even just spray onto a blank piece of paper with your canvas. You just want to get that cleaner sent straight through the channel to make sure you're getting enough of the fluid through. You do that once or twice until you're happy with it, and then give it a little once over again with some water just to spread that through. So I made a bit of a mess of my airbrush. Obviously smaller cup, it's easier to slosh over, but also I'm a little bit more haphazard in my airbrushing style. So what I'm going to do is get a little bit more cleaner, only a little bit this time, and again with my brush, just around the outside edge of the cup, and also take the opportunity to put some of that cleaner on to the sides where it's spilt over. Give that a little dump out, but then also you can see there's some paint in the end of the nozzle to get some of that cleaner in there as well. Once you've done that bit, you just grab another cloth and just give it a little once over on the outside, just to make sure there's no excess. And then again, a little bit of the solution, bubble back and dump out. Now, depending on how thorough you've been, this will be varying degrees of clear, but what we'll do is get those covered in the next stages. So we've cleared through as much of the paint as we're going to on this stage. It's essentially, we've done a colour change clean. I'm now going to take the air supply away, and then with my liquid reamer, which you will remember from last time, I'm going to give it a quick blitz both in the cup and on the outside of the body, just to give it a bit of a polish off. Do that a couple of times, and again, once you're done with that, a little bit of the normal airbrush cleaner to neutralise the solvent. Give that a bit of a rub down, just so it's not overly wet when you start to take it apart. As with the previous airbrush, when we did a clean on the Custom CS, we're going to need to dismantle this. This one doesn't have the handy cutaway at the back, so on this occasion we will dismantle as normal. Back cover, loosen the chucking nut and take that off, pull the needle through, take off the spring guide, and the spring and chucking guide often come away at the same time. There we go, so we have spring, chucking guide and spring guide. And then we take our trigger out, and there's that. Now, as before, we don't need to take this off and take the nozzle off to clean it. We will just take the nozzle cap and needle cap off and gently place that to the side. what we've got here is some paint that has gone through, mostly just on the outside. So just pop a little bit of the reamer on. You can use normal airbrush cleaner, but I quite like the way the reamer just really cuts through it. No messing about. Ooh. Dropping will happen, but that's absolutely fine. And we'll send a little bit of that just all the way through it. Lovely. Before we go any further, I am going to then take this opportunity to pop our cover back over the nozzle so as to make sure that we don't damage it. The next step, with a clean cloth or some paper towel, get some liquid reamer, spray it on a small patch, and then with our needle put it into the middle of that, pinch the needle, and then slowly pull it back and twist it side to side, making sure to get a good coverage. And I think you'll agree that looks pretty covered, pretty clear. There wasn't too much on the needle there. Fantastic. Pop that to one side. Again, as with the other airbrush, we will want to send a little bit of our reamer through the chucking guide. But what we can also do with this one, as we don't have the bit on the back of, like on the custom CS, that allows it to come out easily, we want to send it through the chucking guide backwards, just to make sure that there's no excess paint in there. And that looks pretty clear to me, so I think we got it. So we pop that back down, and then we can just inspect our trigger. It's a little bit of spray over, that's mostly probably from just my thumb or my gloves, so just with a cloth. You can even use the cleaning brush that came, just to get that in there, make sure we're getting it covered and getting the residue of the paint off. Because if you've got a clean outside, the likelihood of having a clean inside is much greater. So we've got all the constituent parts. We're happy those are clean. Make sure you check inside the spring guide, just in case, as I say, there's some spray over. With our liquid reamer, as before, we've still got some paint residue on the inside of the cup. So before we do anything else, I'm going to send some through, as we did with the custom CS, to make sure there's no blockage. And as I did that, a small spray of red paint did come out into my bin. So that has helped shift a small clog. And then spray it through again with some reamer on the inside of the cup, and then just go around that with your cleaning brush. Very important step when you have done that is to use some cleaner to neutralize the solvent, because the last thing you want to do is let solvent sit in your airbrush. That is how you dry out and damage your perishable parts like the O-rings, etc. So make sure you've given that a nice wipe over. And again, just to be sure, you can use a cotton bud. Be careful not to go into the hole, but just use it just to go around the outside, just to get those last bits off. There was a small amount on there, slightly pink, but otherwise we are good to go. So now to reassemble. First things first, pop our trigger back in. This one, unlike with the Eclipse series, we don't have the piston attached, so we just need to pop this over the top of the piston housing, just in there. You can see the small circular plate, so this goes in, and there's a couple of runners either side, so that's in, no messing. What we will want to make sure we do, as with before, is just pop a small dot of our Iwata lube just on the end here. So then when we do put it back in to the piston housing, we can get some of that lubricant just to make sure that our parts that move continue to move. And what I've done there is put that one back to front. So let's try that again. Anyone else would just edit that out and try that take again. But you know what? These things happen. No mess, no fuss. Next, chucking guide. Push the back up so that it looks like a foot ready to go into a boot, and just pop it in. Making sure that the toe of the boot sticks up by the trigger. We then put the spring on and the spring guide, but again, before we put the spring guide onto our airbrush, we want to pop a little bit of the thread sealer just to protect not just the threading but also the airtight seal, to make sure that it's not going anywhere. Again, with any of the parts that screw on, only want to do them hand tighten. Any tighter and you'll run the risk of damaging the seal or a part of the airbrush that doesn't want to be damaged. We put the chucking nut on with a half turn first. This makes putting the needle back in that much easier. So you just get your ring fingers together and then pop the end of the needle on there, and it just slides straight in. Pop it in, give it a slight twist, make sure it's not too stiff, and then you twist the chucking nut on, make sure that that is moving. Then we pop the back cover back on, making sure the needle goes into the small channel there. And as with before, just give it a little spray with your reamer and polish with a cloth. And there we have it. That is one beautifully clean, ready to pack away Iwata HP B Plus.